Hello everyone. Okay, today I just wanted to show you very easy way to make a lovely little ornament. It can hang on your Christmas tree or it can go anywhere you like really, but I wanted to show you using the lovely tiny Pandora rhinestones. And like I say, as much as I don't like using them because I just like to look at them, I do think this lends itself to something like this because it's just so pretty. So very easy technique. I'm using some Primo Pearl, and I've mixed this particular colour with a quarter of the Peacock Pearl. Mixed that together and it's come up with this lovely sort of like shimmery, quite light blue, almost got a hint of sort of obviously the greeny type tinge to it, which I like. And then I've got a particular tool which I'll show you in a minute, of how I created these stars, and that's just using the mica shift technique. I baked it with the rhinestone in, so that way it keeps it in place, and then I just popped it out and popped a little bit of super glue underneath, and now it's just ready to go. So, and if you want to, you can put a varnish on it if you like, but of course you don't need to because there's no surface effects on here. You can put deep shine, you could put the UV resin if you wish, but I'm just going to leave mine just like that. So let's get to it. Okay, so I've prepared here some more Primo Pearl, and with this one I just added a quarter of the purple pearl, and it's come up with this lovely, lighting's a little bit going off a little bit here, isn't it? It's a really light, almost a violet-y type colour, but it's got that lovely shimmer to it. And then the way I got the texture is I used one of these rollers. Now this one I've had a long time, and they're actually for the cake making and for icing, that type of thing. You can see it's got a few cracks and what have you in it, but it still seems to work fine. All I will say with something like this is even as possible when you run it over, otherwise you will get divots in it and it can be a bit of a nuisance if you want to try and keep your piece flat. But of course you don't have to use a tool like this, you can use any kind of texture you like. So all I'm going to do is just literally run this across, and you'll see it makes a lovely star pattern. And then I've got a flexi blade here, and I'm just going to start taking the very tops of the stars off and just literally take the pieces away so it makes a nice flat smooth surface, and it's quite satisfying actually. But what I love about this is it just gives it that little bit of interest, and obviously if you put it on your tree and you've got a nice light shining on it, then it will give you that little bit of a twinkle. So try not to go too deep if you can, and it's just about taking off that those top pieces just to reveal the lovely pattern, and it just keeps it flat, which is nice. You don't have to, you could keep it like this and cut it out like this if you wanted to. I just thought it just adds a little bit more interest to the decoration. But there's no reason at all why you can't keep the stars protruding as they are. So we're just going to take a little bit more off. And it's just gently really with something like this. And then obviously with my particular one I had a star shape, so you just want to make sure that wherever you're going to put it you've taken enough of the pattern just to make sure it does go flat. And if you want, you can get yourself a piece of parchment paper, just run your fingers over the top, and that way you just smoothen it down. You can use your roller if you want to, just to get an even surface. But it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect this, because it is just about making a pretty decoration. And then we just want to make sure we're going to get some of those stars in there, and we're just going to cut that out. Pop that back up and take that off. So now we've got a lovely star shape. Now what I like to do at this particular point is get my proper blade, which I'm going to be using to pick this up. I do like to try and get rid of, and it always bugs me, there's always a little indentation when you have a metal cutter. And I'm just going to smooth that down, just so as it doesn't annoy me. You probably will see it because that's the nature of the particular clay we're using, but if we choose it as a bottom one, you're not going to notice it so much. Now what I'll do now is I'm just going to take the rest of this clay, run it through my pasta machine, and I'm going to cut another little star to sit on the top. Okay, so as you can see, I've just used a smaller cutter, obviously one that's going to fit within that parameters of that bigger star. And I did, on the blue one, I did actually do some more stars, but I've decided on this one not to. Not for any particular reason, but don't think it absolutely needs it, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm just making sure that these lovely little pointy parts are pointy still. And then what I'm going to use next is one of these wonderful rhinestones, and I've got here these beautiful pink ones. Aren't they just gorgeous? Now this can be a little bit tricky, so what I suggest is if you make yourself a little indentation, doesn't matter what you use, just to give you a guide, and then with your tweezers you can just rest on the top and you can just guide yourself in there just to the point where you think it's right, and then just pop down, and if you push it right the way in, as far as it will go, just so as it sits nice and level on top of that star, and you can bake it like that, be absolutely fine, and then you just pop it out at the end. And I'll also put a hole in at the end as well, just so as I don't distort, because they're quite fiddly little bits here, just so as I don't distort them. So I'm now going to put that into the oven. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's such a pretty effect. I'm now going to put that into the oven. I'll actually put it in there because it is quite thick, and I've forgotten to tell you how thick I've done it. I've actually done it 2 thicknesses on a number 1, and mine is an Atlas machine, and this top one was also a number 1. Just enables you to make sure that the lovely rhinestone will go in and not come through the back, but it also gives it a little bit more stability, because we know what it's like with Christmas decorations. Sometimes, you know, people come round, or you've got grandkids like me now, who love to touch, so I thought I'd make it a little bit thicker. So anyway, that's going to go into the oven and we'll have a look when it's done. Okay, all baked and ready to go. So all I'm going to do now is just pop the little rhinestone out, and it's quite easy to do. Just pop it out like so. I'm just going to get some glue, and I've got some Loctite here. I just find this one really quite good because it's just got a bit of a squeezy thing. You just pop in there, and you really do only need a little drop just to really hold it in place. And, nice and simple. And then we're just going to pop this back down, make sure it just sits where it needs to be, and that will be absolutely fine. And I just think it just makes the whole thing come alive. Absolutely adore these rhinestones. So next thing we need to do is to pop a hole. So it's really up to you which way you want it. You just turn it round till you feel happier about which, but if you're not sure about that little piece that I had to smooth out, then maybe that's a bit that we could do with getting at the bottom. And I can't, oh there we go, it's that one there. So if we go in through the side here, now I've just got, it's a little hand tool, you can just turn it round, and I've just got these little drill bits. I've had this for years. I don't even know where I got it from. I've got a funny feeling I may have even pinched it out of my husband's workshop, more than likely. Now I found it easier if I was to actually just stand it so as the 2 feet, as such as I call them, are at the bottom, and then just went in as centrally as I can, and just keep your hand as level as possible, and just work your way through. Now you can do this before you bake. I just find that it's just a little bit fiddly, and once it's gone through, just nice and easy really. Then just pull it back out. Sometimes this thing wants to come apart. Just screw that back up, and then I'll just go through the other side just to tidy it all up. Yeah, I just find that by doing it once it's baked, it just enables that to not get too go out of shape and then all I've got is just some silver. I don't even know where I got this from, to be honest, but I just know it works because it will be thin enough to go through. So you just want to poke that through. There we go. And just make it to the length that you want. Remembering you've got to make a tiny little knot in it. I just want some scissors. And that is really as simple as that. Like I say, if you want to decorate it with some, or you know, coat it with something, that's entirely up to you. I don't think it needs it, but sometimes it does come to life even more when you put a resin on. But it's not an absolute necessity because there isn't anything on there that you need to protect, and that really is just as simple as that. So you've got that one, we've got the lovely blue one, and I just think you could have all colours, and you could have these decorated all over the house really, or anywhere you like. Decorate your whole tree with them if you want. So have some fun. Rhinestones, tinypandora.com. You really don't need a lot of tools. As far as the clay, it was the Primo Pearl, and then I just mixed it with the colour that I fancied at the time, and one was Peacock and this one was Purple Pearl, and it was just a 1/4 ratio to about a block of pearl, because I had a big block, about a block, and it just came out these really quite nice pastel-y quite colours. So have some fun, and I'll see you again soon.